Hello violinists, welcome to Prime Strings. I'm Henriette and I'm so excited because today is day 30 and that will mean our last lesson of the Suzuki Violin School Volume 2. So haven't you done wonderfully well coming to this stage? After this lesson today you can play absolutely every piece in this book in the correct style using the third position. So I'm in awe of what you have achieved. Super work. Before we get started today, let's get you tuned up. Now in this lesson today we're going to look at a free placement of a finger in the third position. So beforehand we've always used a position change by using the same finger in the old position and in the new position, and we're still going to go over that because that is the basis of the technique that we're going to be using today. But today we're going to use how we can place a finger from an open string straight into the third position. So let's just revise what we have been doing and let's go on to the A string this time and let's practice our shifts using that little elbow wiggle as well. Here we go, we're practicing a 1-1 shift and how we're going to do it. Now what I'd like you to do is to concentrate on sliding slowly with your fingers. So we're never going to be jerking our hands up and down like that, but we're going to give it a gentle swing and then slowly slide. So you hear a little, literally a little slide, a little glissando in your playing. At the same time, as always, you want to take your thumb with you as well. So we're never playing in the third position and leaving our thumb behind. The thumb always comes up with our first finger. So let's do that same exercise again, shall we? And by sliding, we guarantee that we're not hopping our finger, but we're leaving our finger down on the string. You have to, of course, take the pressure off your finger a little bit, otherwise you can't move. But we're leaving our finger in contact with the string at all times. So make sure you never hop across from one position to another. Let's do it one more time. Let's go on the E string this time. And notice that I'm playing from a B to a D when I shift it just now, and I have also played from an F sharp to an A, and so it's always normal first finger to a first finger in the third position, and therefore I've skipped all the exercises on page 29 because there you go from a low first finger to a first finger in the third position, and that is a slide which is a semitone bigger. So for now, do not worry about the exercises on page 29. That comes later in your technique. I think you can skip it for now and still be very comfortable playing the pieces that we're doing today. So now we're going to learn the Gavotte as it's printed on page 31, and that just gives you the example of how you can shift. And we're going to, in a minute, once we've practiced this exercise, we're going to apply this piece in the Gavotte on page 24. So let's play on page 39 now and let's see what the exercise is like. And Okay, so what we're doing here is we're having an open string and I'm going straight to the third position. Now let's practice just that bit, shall we? So we're starting on the open E string, the second bar, and we're just going to go up to when we shift. And let's do that again. That's it. As you practice this more and more, your hit rate will improve. But what helps you at this time is when you play, I'll deliberately play it out of tune this time, and then I want you to guess whether I was too sharp with my finger or too flat. Oops, what was that like? That was a little bit too sharp. That's it. So now when I'm going to try it again, I'm going to go a little bit lower. Ah, now I've found it. Now I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to deliberately play it wrong again. You have a guess whether that's too sharp or too flat. Oof. What do you think? Still too sharp, isn't it? There we are, that sounds in tune. I'm just going to go a couple more times and I'll let you practice listening to when it's in tune or out of tune, and when you practice that for yourself in your own time, that's going to help you improve your playing very quickly. So what is this? Have a guess. Oh, that's way too flat, isn't it? Still too flat? Better? Oops-a-daisy, way too sharp. Now, if you find it difficult to hear where you need to be with your finger, what you can do is, of course, play it in first position first and then switch over. So you can do it like this. And that helps you know what the sound will be like. Then it's easier to shift. Now, even better is when you sing that note first. So I'm going like this. If you know what the sound is going to be like, it's much easier to find it with your fingers. There we go. You might practice that away from this video maybe, and until you find that you're getting more and more reliable placing that finger freely onto the string. Now I'm doing this top line once more. So now we're going to practice that shift coming down. So we were here. Now my second finger is only a semitone below where my first finger was, you see. Here I was in the third position on A, and I'm going to G sharp. And again, you want to sing that in your head so you know where you're going to be heading. So this is my last finger played in the third position. Yes, and then that way it's easier to find, isn't it? Now I'm going to go and play that whole section in third position now. And now you've got a tone and a half in between your fingers. Shall we do that again? So here the difficulty is not just a shift, but it's also how it continues whilst you are back in the first position, G sharp to F natural. Now let's put that whole phrase together, shall we? We're going from the beginning on the A. Okay, that's much improved, isn't it? Now let's have a look at the second line now. And now we're going to start in the third position. Second finger on the A string for that E. And once you're ready, here we go. That we're using is our last finger played in the third position was a 2, an E here, before we then shift back to a 2 on C. Yeah, so I'm just going to practice this shift. Practice the second bar of this line. So I'm starting on the 1. You heard me tune up already. Once you're ready, okay, shall we do that again? Find that 1. And you'll find that the more practice you get in these position changes, you'll get more and more reliable with your fingers as well. So you play better in tune gradually. So if today it's all over the place, please don't worry about it. Keep on working at it and you'll get a little step in the right direction every time you practice. So I'm just going to play the second line of this gavotte on our practice page, page 31, and after that we'll put it together in our original gavotte. So I'll find my E, That's it, well done. Now let's turn back now to page 24 and find out where we are using our fingers like this. So when you look at this picture, I will show you and talk you through how I've written in the fingers that we've just practiced in this extra exercise into the gavotte on page 24. So in bar 21, I've changed the finger to go into the third position. Remember, we used to play this in the first position with a stretched fourth finger. That is one possible way of playing it, but the way that we've learned today is a much more reliable way for the tuning, for the intonation, and a much more professional way of putting it in your playing. So we're going to apply this knowledge now into your piece. If you look at bar 22 and also bar 26, those are the places where we're going to have that free placement of our first finger in the third position. Let's practice that, shall we? And we're just going to practice these 2 lines. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and practice that many times, and you hear it is much more reliable now on the C, the high note, the 3rd finger on the E string. So this is so much nicer than how we used to play. A 4/4 shift, sometimes you can't avoid it, but here we can avoid it by playing the 3rd position. Well done you for making that progress there. Now let's take a look at bar 31, because here we're going to go and now, because we use the 3rd position, we can play this whole section on the A string, and that's what's so nice about it, because we've said in the past sometimes you can use position playing as a means of expression by playing all your notes with the same timbre, like playing them on the same string so they get the same ring to them. And that sounds much nicer when we compared with when we play. So now we've got so much more in the same style, all these notes. So we're going to go from bar 30 in the middle of bar 30 on the open A string. 1 and 2 and shift. Shall we do that again? Doesn't that sound a whole lot different? Well done. Very nice playing. Now let's put it all together, this section of the Gavotte. So we're going to go and play from bar 21 to the top of the new page, bar 34. And the rest you can all fill in yourself, because that is all the same as we've always played it before. So we're putting it together from bar 21 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it, well done. Now let's turn back to page 31, and we're just going to see how we can apply the 3rd position in the Minuet by Beethoven. And you can see there are some examples there, and I'm going to play you the first line. here it's very clear that it is much easier to play this rather than, I always think it sounds much more gentle as well when you play it on the D string rather than on the A string there. So let's go slowly and practice it together. I'm starting first finger on the D string. So let's find that one and check it with your G. That's it. Here we go. 1, 2. Just practice that once again up to here. I'll both start. And carry on. And right here we've got a shift going down from a first finger and you might practice it like that a couple of times. Will you join me? We're starting on the first finger on the D string in third position. There we are. Now shift back and play it with a 3. Shift up and back. So you see that I always leave the first finger on the string even when I shift down. So I'm here. My first finger goes down and stays on the string before I have the third finger. There is a rule in position changing that says when you shift positions, whether up or down, it really doesn't matter. You play the last note played in the old position as your first note in the new position. So this first finger G shifts back and becomes an E in the first position, so first finger. So officially this shift goes, and that is a really useful way of playing it. You do it properly by the book then, and that is even better than just having a random go. So let's go back to here and let's practice that. I'm playing 1-1 first, so I'm playing a first finger in the third position to a first finger in the first position. Here we go. Let's do that again. One more time and now this is how I practice it. Sometimes I haven't got that much time to play that in my music, so when I'm playing here, for instance, still I leave it in for a short while, but when I perform this piece it would go. Gradually disappears. It's called an auxiliary note, and we will come to talk about that many times in the future. But learning about it today is actually quite useful because that is a proper way of shifting. Now let's have a look at the second line, and I'll play you that one. Lovely shift, and you might even let it slide a little bit. Of course, if we use our auxiliary note here, we're going to play 3-3. So the rule is you play the last finger played in the old position, which is that third finger on the B, as my first finger in the new position. Now the new position is the first position, so my last finger played was a 3, so I'm going to find the third finger in the first position first. So that is really my shift. But that's what the music says. So I'm going. Can you see that I'm still playing the third finger? And that is the official way of playing it. Of course, when I perform this piece, it goes. I'm pulling that third finger up just in time so that you don't really hear it. But it is still there. Okay, let's play the whole line now and put it together. 1, 2. That's it. If you play it like that, that's absolutely fine. Now let's find this minuet on page 26. And again, here is a picture of how you can apply that fingering in the first section of this minuet. So perhaps you can copy these now, these fingerings, into your music, and we can add them to that first section. So the trio doesn't change at all. You play this exactly in the same way as how we used to do that way back when we learned this piece. But something is changing now in the allegretto part of it. So if you've got all these fingerings written in, let's put it together. Let's play the first 2 lines first, shall we? So we're starting in the first position. 1, 2. Shall we do that again? 1, 2. And that's how it will be. Now we'll play you lines 3 and 4 and let's work out how that works in the third position. We're starting in the first position, remember? 1, 2. Let's repeat that. That sounds absolutely wonderful. Well done. You have achieved such a great deal. Now, I wish you good luck with practicing your third position. I would encourage you to keep on practicing the Mackay book as well, because that gives you such a good grounding and it will bring you further along, and that is where we want to go, isn't it? So I thank you very much for watching the whole of these series. I've been really pleased with your progress and I wish you good luck. If you have any questions, please write them in the comments section below. I will get to see these and I will respond to them, I promise. Also, you might like to add a few words and say how this worked for you, how you've experienced going maybe from the first Suzuki course into the second one. And I would really appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I very much look forward to seeing you again another day. Goodbye.